Okay, so the last thing to do will be actually to test our code that it works. So I'm just going to go to test that my code works. And yeah, so basically all of my test cases passed, and our function actually works. Say the code ran in 5 to 5 seconds. Okay, so we're going to, before I actually click attempt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually write this, solve this same question. Okay, so now that our JavaScript solution, our Python solution actually works, let's look at how we can actually solve this problem in this same problem in JavaScript. And the logic is basically the same thing, but the only thing that is going to be different is going to be the syntax and the way we're actually going to do our conversion. We're going to switch our solution from Python to JavaScript. Okay. So the instructions are still the same, and we're still going to do basically almost the same thing, but the way we're going to write the code is going to be very different. And the first thing we want to do is to actually check that the range of that the user inserted is actually within 0 and 255. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is to actually check that the range the user inserted is actually within our parameters. So what we'll do is we're going to leave a comment here. Ensure input values are within valid range, and the valid range is between 0 and 255. So to do that, we're going to say R will be equal to math.max, which is the JavaScript equivalent of the maximum and the minimum, or the maximum. And we're going to say math.min, and we're going to put in 255 and R, like we did for Python. And we're going to say G equals math.max, that is for the green now. And we're going to pass in 0, and we're going to pass in math.min. And we're going to pass in 255 and G, semicolon to signify the end of that line. I'm going to say math.max again. So basically, let me just copy the same function and just make changes to it. So I'm just going to copy the same function and paste it and change this to blue. So the next thing we now want to do is actually write a function, or write the statement, the code that actually does help us do our conversion. And in order for us to convert decimal values to hexadecimals, what we actually need to do, first of all, let's define a variable called xDigit that will store all our the valid range for our decimal value. And the valid range, let me just copy it from. So the valid range is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So remember, according to what we did here, the valid range is 0 to F, from 0 to F. So we're going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and A, B, C, D, E, F. So after doing that, the next thing we're going to do is to create a variable that actually store our X value as the value of our conversion. Just going to change this to X value so it doesn't give me any problem in the long run. I'm going to say it's equal to, and set it equal to an empty string for now. So the last thing we're going to do is actually write a loop that actually loops through each one of these values, substitutes each one of these values, and does our conversion. So we're going to say for var I equal to 0, while I is less than 3. That looks like an art, but we're going to say I plus plus to increment the value of I. So we're going to loop through these values one after the other, red, green, and blue, one after the other. And the value of I, the number of values that we are given is 3. So that is why we're using 3 here for our this thing, for our loop. So we're going to say var current byte, which is the current value, either R or G or B. Current byte will be equal to I equal 0 and R. Then we're going to pass in I equal 1 space and G is B. So what this simply does, this is a simple if and else statement. Using the ternary operator. We're simply saying while I equals to 0, our value should be red. Else, while I equals to 1, our value should be green. Else, else if I equals to 1, our value should be green. Else, our value should be what? Blue. So that is a simple definition of that. If you can do it, you can do a little bit more reading on using ternary operators. So the last thing we're going to do, or rather the next thing we're going to do, is to actually assign, or rather do our conversion. We're going to say var first x, then we're going to say digits will be equal to math.floor. Now remember that the reason why we are flooring it is because we want to return the first the first value of our operation, that is the result of our operation without decimals. So math.floor, then we're going to say current is wrong, current byte divided by 16, the same way we did it for we saw in our solution here, divided by 16. So this is for the first byte. Then the second byte, which is the second digit of our hexadecimal, we're going to say second x digit will be equal to the current byte, and we're going to find the remainder of the value of dividing it by 16. So basically, we're saying that, let's say we have the RGB value of 255. We're simply saying that it should divide 255 by 16 and assign the value to the first byte. Then the second byte, that is the first digit. Then the second digit should be the remainder of dividing the first byte, that is the current byte, 255, by 16, should be the second byte. So let's move on. So the last thing we're going to do, now I forgot to terminate these lines first of a bit from moving from Python, from writing Python. So we're going to say x value will be plus or equal to what? X digits. And we're going to use the first x digits to index as the index. We're going to say it's equal to the index of the first x digits. And we're going to add what? The x digits. sorry, made a mistake here. Yes, the X digits and what? The second X digits. So what is this is simply saying that the value of X value, this is our X value here that we define an empty string, should be equal to what? To the index. So the value of X digits here will be used to index our X digits that we've declared here, and the value will be added together and will be assigned to the value of X value. So what we simply want to do after doing all of that is simply return outside our loop now, simply return X value. So this is a simple solution to our problem. And to recap, what we're doing is we first ensure that the values are within the range of 0 to 255, because that is the range of the decimal for hexa and for hexadecimal. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to define our hexadecimal digits. That is the valid hexadecimal digit that we currently have. The next thing we're going to define a placeholder for our X value. Then the last thing we did is to simply loop through each one of our values, RGB, and for each of the current bytes, what we're simply doing is that we are finding dividing it by 16 and returning a whole number, and we're finding the remainder of the operation of the current byte modulus 16. So we are now finally assigned the value of the first digit and the second digit index into what? Into our X value, and we simply return X value. So let's actually test our code and see that it actually works. Okay, so all our tests passed for our JavaScript solution 2, and our tests ran in 814 ms. So that is just simply that's what we've done so far. Is we've taken a solution, we've taken a problem and found a solution for it in Python using the same logic, and using that same logic to find a solution for it in JavaScript. So what that simply should tell you is that solutions, or rather problems, have the same solutions, except in the same programming, in totally different, in the same programming language. Like across programming language, the solution to problems are similar. The only difference is the implementation of that problem, of that solution. That's just the simple what we've simply done today. So thank you for being a part of this session, and I hope to see you next time. But before I end this meeting, this video, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to attempt just to see that, yeah, you know, I passed. So just going to attempt, and I'm going to submit my solution to CodeWars, just so that my rank can go up. So yeah, so my rank I just ranked up. So I think I was at, I can't remember what rank I was at, but yeah, I've ranked up. So I'm just going to solve it again, but this time around in Python, because yeah, I wrote both codes, so I'm allowed to use both solutions. So I'm just going to solve the same problem in Python and simply attempt and submit and submit. So yeah. Okay, so no additional points for no additional points for for submitting the same solution to submitting different solution to the same problem. Okay, so thank you so much for being a part of today's session. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.